cabinet minister, union cabinet minister, the chief minister will meet, call on or some meeting mein. First, how is your health, Naveen Babu? Oh, I'm fine. I don't have any problem. Then Jay told that your health is not good. It hits him. There was articles, there were social media posts, everything about how bad the chief minister's health is and how he should find somebody to take over the party and the government. And that is when the chief minister decided it's high time that we move away from people whom we once trusted. I am not working as an officer there. I am working on the directions of the chief minister. In chief minister office, all departments are under the chief minister. Every cabinet note comes to the chief minister office for approval. He is the boss.
Oh,
I think,
goodness.
Yeah, good omen. I mean, for my first interview, perhaps.
Yeah, the lizard. I thought it's a bird, but I believe it's a...
I think it's a lizard.
So, good omen. Yeah. So, I'm going to get like 1 million hits for this interview, that means.
शुणुले आपण मैंने विस्तृत भाव में जो ये मुख्य विषय वस्तु था जो 5T अध्यक्ष कार्तिक पांड्यान विस्तृत भाव में सूचना देते.
Filmed in Bhubaneswar, the capital of Odisha. My guest today is Mr. V.K. Pandian, a former bureaucrat and close confidant of the Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. The very elusive V.K. Pandian has never given a television interview or podcast. In fact, he rarely speaks to the media. So this episode of the podcast is all the more special because many people say that Mr. Pandian is a political figure who's being groomed to take over the party reins once Mr. Naveen Patnaik, the current Chief Minister, retires from active politics. Mr. Pandian, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Same here. Jai Jagannath. Thank you.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
So, I'm of course going to begin with who's this mystery man, Mr. Pandian. Nobody knows in the country who's this person because there's so much mystery around you because you don't give television interviews, you don't give news interviews only, and everybody wants to know what it is about Mr. Pandian that people wonder that he keeps to himself, elusive person. So introduce yourself to the people of the country and to even Odiyas.
Perhaps I got inspired by Honorable CM.
Correct.
His style is that.
Yes.
And till the other day, I was in the Indian Administrative Service, where we have to be behind the screen always. You do work for the government, so you don't get a chance to come out in front.
But I've seen that you take it to another level completely. You even when there's criticism about you, you are shy about it. You don't respond. You don't react. You just do your work. I've seen. So is it because you were directed by Naveen Babu, or is it your natural self?
I think one gets inspired being with him for more than a decade. You are working so closely with him. You get to see how he reacts to situations, how he reacts to criticism. So you get inspired by him. Perhaps something of him has rubbed in me.
But he has a number of years of experience. You're a young bureaucrat, and you were posted in tough areas like in Kalahandi and all that. It was like phenomenal work that you did. So I'm sure as a young person you would have lost your temper at times, and you would have like, why are they writing this against me? What is this? You don't feel like responding ever?
I thought that the work should speak.
That's
like
nice.
how Sachin said that my bat should speak.
Okay.
So our work should speak more than...
So tell me, what is it about Mr. Pandian that a 5-term chief minister trusts him so implicitly?
I also keep asking him this. I'm still waiting for an answer from him.
Okay.
Perhaps we both share that commitment for people.
Okay.
Something which I got inspired from him.
Right.
In fact, I got Punjab cadre initially in 2000. And in 1999, super cyclone had hit Odisha very badly. Odisha was in a very bad shape. So there was a dilemma which cadre I should move. So I decided to go to Odisha because Mr. Naveen Patnaik had taken over as Chief Minister of Odisha. And the director of our academy said that go to Odisha, you will get great chance to work. and there is an honest person who has become chief minister.
Okay.
So you'll get great scope to work. So that's how I came to Odisha, and from that day, I got great deal of independence to work in whichever post I have been, whether it is sub-collector or additional district magistrate in Rourkela or as district magistrate in 2 districts, including his own district.
What was the first meeting that you had with Mr. Naveen Patnaik? Tell me about that.
I was sub-collector, a young sub-collector. He had come to inaugurate some projects in
Where was this?
in Kalahandi,
Kalahandi.
Dharamgarh. So that was the day he was, it was 2003 or 3. So that was the time India Today had adjudged him as one of the top chief ministers of the country, first time. So he had come with that India Today and he was reading that magazine.
Okay.
So that is the first memory I have of our Honorable Chief Minister.
And what was your first impression when you met
He
him?
was unlike a political person. Whatever stereotype one has about a political leader, he was completely unlike. Very warm, very down to earth, very humble, and had an eye for good work. He had come and he immediately appreciated me for 2-3 things, which I thought was very nice of him to tell to such a junior officer.
What was the work?
He spoke about the paddy procurement which I was doing,
Okay.
which the administration was doing. Kalahandi used to be a food deficit district.
Yes.
Kalahandi was known for those.
I remember as a journalist, my generation of people would Koraput and Kalahandi would, be the dark zones of the
Absolutely.
country, of famine, of food shortage, and
Starvation
always
deaths
deaths.
and
Yes.
child sale and all those things used to happen.
Yeah.
So during our chief minister's time, the face of Kalahandi actually changed. He brought in irrigation in a large scale. So he transformed the gray areas of drought-prone areas into green areas. So we have food surplus in Kalahandi. When I was posted there in 2003-04, we have to sell a lot of paddy. That was a big challenge, and ensuring minimum support price for the farmers.
And from subsistence agriculture that was practiced out there.
Yes.
And bare subsistence, even if I
Absolutely.
might say that.
Absolutely.
You were selling it for rest of the state.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest transformations the Chief Minister had done for Odisha. In 2000, we used to be a food deficit state. We used to depend on Punjab, Haryana, other states for our own food security. The public distribution system will wait for rail wagons to come from other states.
Okay.
So if the wagons are delayed, the food security and the public distribution system will get delayed. So the Chief Minister decided that Odisha has so much of water, so much of fertile land. So one of the biggest challenges he took was that he will transform the agriculture of Odisha.
Okay.
So he invested heavily in irrigation, he invested in agriculture practices, and in 7 years, 8 years, Odisha had become self-sufficient. In food grain production, it became self-sufficient.
Okay.
In 11 years, Odisha became food surplus. That is one of the biggest transformations we brought, and now we are the 3rd largest contributor to the country's food security. So from a food insecure state, Odisha has become a food surplus state.
Contributing
Yeah,
to
absolutely. The 3rd biggest contributor.
Okay. So the steps that he took, did he have, were the people of Odisha completely on board? Was his political party completely on board when he was bringing these transformative changes?
I think people were very happy with whatever he was doing in every field. Whether it is disaster management, where he has set global benchmarks, or food security, or tribal empowerment, or education, every field. That is why perhaps he got pro-incumbency instead of anti-incumbency,
Yeah.
which sets in, even after one term, anti-incumbency sets in.
Yeah.
He is now 5-term chief minister, and in every election, his margins go high, his vote percentage is going high, and perhaps he will repeat the same in 2024 as well. Okay.
So, sir, I wanted to ask you this. When Naveen Babu started his career in politics, everybody was like, "Oh, he's not a son of the soil. He's anglicized. He doesn't speak the language." So this kind of talk was done. But somehow, as you said, that there's no anti-incumbency with him. People of Odisha not just forgive him, not just accept him, they embrace him, despite him not being one of the, like I said, son of the soil. So how does that work? How are people of Odisha not so parochial, should I say, or so language chauvinistic that they want somebody who speaks fluent, pure Odia?
I think language is to connect with people, the masses. He does it very well. In spite of whatever limitation one will accuse him of speaking the language, he connects with people the best. And that's what works in democracy.
Correct.
His language is the language of people. He speaks from his heart, which people appreciate. He doesn't have anything to hide. He's so transparent that people love him for what he is.
So even with you, it's like that, right? Because you're a Tamilian by birth. So I would think that when you chose to come to Odisha and work out here, you have a similar kind of a trajectory in the sense that you are not fluent with the language, though you learnt it. But again, you've managed to work out here for so many years now.
So when you come to Odisha only, you are asked to write an exam. You have to clear an exam of 8th standard or something. Then you clear the exam, then you take up posts here in the state. So I think language is not a limitation if you know people and you understand their issues, you solve their issues. People are more concerned about how transparent one is with them and how committed are they to their cause. I think that really works, and that's an inspiration one gets from the Chief Minister as well.
See,
but even though I won't agree that he is not so fluent,
I'm talking about when he came to politics.
Oh, that time, yeah.
At
right.
that time,
Okay,
he was
okay.
like, he was considered like, somebody not accustomed to, living here in Odisha.
Yeah.
He'd come from outside, and he had, even his English was, anglicized English. So,
I think he used all those things as his strength.
Yeah.
He was very fresh. He was open to ideas, and he saw everything with an open mind, which is very rare in a political situation. You come with preconceived notions, preconceived ideas. He was fresh in politics. He didn't have much experience. So he came with open ideas, open mind. So that also helped him to a great extent.
So when you worked with him, initially, if you remember, even the politicians of Orissa used to say that, he relies more on bureaucracy, not so much on politicians, not even his own party. He wants his work done by the bureaucracy, and he will ignore some of the criticism or some of the ideas that come from his own party workers. So how did bureaucracy respond at that time? The reason I ask is because it's a problem that many chief ministers face, how to balance the needs and aspirations of the political class and how to get things delivered by the bureaucracy. So how did Naveen Babu deal with the bureaucracy?
I think he supports good work, transparent work. He stands behind you. I can give an example of what happened with me when I was a young sub-collector in Dharamgarh in 2003, Kalahandi, 2003-04. I was going all out against rice millers who are doing mischief in ensuring minimum support price. So I was going really hard on them. So all of them joined together and came in 2003 to the state headquarters and met the Food and Civil Supplies Minister. That time it used to be a coalition government between BJP and BJD. So the coalition minister, I think he was from BJP. So they came and met. These millers had this idea as to how officers used to get transferred overnight during the Congress regime. So they thought that will happen. They all came. Apparently they all collected some money and came saying that we should get this officer out. So when they met the minister, Food and Civil Supplies, he laughed and said that this is Naveen Patnaik's government. You can't get a officer transferred for doing good work.
Who said this?
The minister told the minister told the rice millers. So straight from here, they all came and met me in my office, night 9 o'clock or something. They came and apologized and said that times have changed. Naveen Patnaik is known for standing behind honest officers. We apologize to you. We will think that business is cyclical. We are going through a tough situation now. So we'll adjust and we'll do good work now.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
So there was no threat at that time. I mean, of course, bureaucrats across the country have that experience where business owners who are used to a certain way of doing it, and if bureaucrats don't do it, like sand mining and those kind of mafias.
Actually, I think the first year of his arrival, the chief minister arrested 4 or 5 super class contractors who are supposedly ruling the state. It sent shockwaves. He sent I think he sacked about half a dozen ministers on corruption. He arrested 3 or 4 IS officers on corruption. So the narrative was very clear that if you do good job, honest job, he will stand behind you. So when you asked about how do bureaucrats perform in Naveen Patnaik's regime, it's because of that commitment, that support one gets from him, that he will stand by you. If you have done good job, transparent work, even if you do small mistakes, it's okay. He will manage it for you. But do it for the cause of people. That's what gives you that inner strength to work for the people. And when you asked about,
Oh,
I think,
goodness.
yeah, good woman. I mean, for my first interview, perhaps.
Yeah, the lizard. I thought it's a bird, but I believe it's a...
I think it's a lizard.
So, good omen. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to get like 1 million hits for this interview, that means.
So-
Yeah, so yes. Go ahead.
So he is very clear about where to draw the line between bureaucracy and the political executive. He knows what has to be done through the political executive, how much you have to respect the political executive, and how much you have to get work done by the administration, the bureaucrats. So he doesn't cross that line.
So this is what you're telling me is about bureaucrats, right? What happens about his own party? Because there have been minor rebellions. Mr. Pandian, if you see the area around your state, there have been so many rebellions. When you see Jharkhand, when you see Bihar, you see, and you go a little further, you see other states also. You see Madhya Pradesh, and there have been rebellions within. But somehow it doesn't happen here. In Odisha, there have been minor rebellions, but Naveen Babu seems to have quelled it all along.
I won't even call them as minor rebellions. They are really small, micro, you can say. Basically, ego issues are super confident or overconfident, some people trying some mischief. If the leader is so popular amongst people, if you are going to do a rebellion against him, it's going to finish your political career. And that is the very reason why in Odisha nobody has tried any rebellion. He's so popular. You have to be there to see how people love him. They wait for 4 or 5 hours just to have a glimpse of him for half a second. What kind of love and affection people have for him.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone dares to do any rebellion.
There was that one incident,
Yes.
remember, when you were with
London.
him you
In
were
London,
abroad,
yeah.
and there was that one. And at that time, there was in Delhi, there were a lot of rumors, at least, that, the toppling will happen and all that. So how was that managed?
Perhaps that was his bad time, Mr. Pyarimohan Mohaptra's bad time. He
decided to mount it.
Yeah, he decided to mount it. I would say that only, that it was his bad time. He decided to do something like that. The chief minister is so popular. The day we landed back from London, the airport, how close it is. It shares a boundary with the chief minister's residence. From the airport to his residence, we took 2.5 hours or 3 hours to reach. That was the kind of crowd, so much of emotions. And he broke all records in the 2014 elections after the coup.
And this was when, in
12.
In
May.
2012,
May.
when there was this talk of this rebellion, and there was, disruption in many states during that time, but
Yes.
here there wasn't.
Yeah, little bit attempt was made, but the kind of people support, I think everyone got scared. Nobody dared to cross the line.
Yeah.
So the chief minister became more powerful after that, I would say.
Right. And so do you think that is the reason why Mr. Modi and Mr. Patnaik get along so well? Because Mr. Modi is also a former chief minister, and he also had this phenomenal support in his own state, in Gujarat. So do you think that that is one of the major reasons why the two of them have a cordial relationship?
I would see from 2-3 angles the relationship between the Honorable Prime Minister and the Chief Minister. I have seen them interact from 2011 onwards. I have been with them. One angle is the respect they have for each other. they respect that people's mandate, that genuine respect which comes when you enjoy the confidence of people. That is the first thing both of them have. If you see both of them meeting for the first time, you will see that as if they are great friends and meeting after a long time. Something like that you will feel. That's the kind of rapport both of them have. The second is their commitment for federalism. Why I am using this word federalism, it was UPA 2, I remember. They were planning to introduce NCTC, National Counter-Terrorism Act or something.
Mr. Chidambaram's dream child.
And then they were giving more powers to RPF, Railway Protection Force, through which they can take action inside a state's territory. All of it were encroaching the state's jurisdiction, domain.
That NCTC was a stillborn. It never happened.
So what happened, those times, all of them used to talk to each other. Mr. Modi, Madam Jayalalitha and Naveen Patnaik. I remember they three decided to walk out of the NDA meeting, NDC, National Development Council meeting, must be 2011-12. All three of them decided we should be the first ones to walk out, opposing this NDC. So all three of them came out and gave statements, and they met in Gujarat Bhavan and in Tamil Nadu Bhavan, like that. So they had that rapport from that time onwards, working for a cause, working for federal principles, keeping larger interest of country in focus.
Right. And do you think that cooperative federalism, in a way, that was redefined in 2014 by the center-state relations that you have experienced and you have seen between Odisha and the central government?
I would say so. I would say so. To a great extent, a lot of things have been ironed out, including the devolution. Even though we say that we have to get more funds, but there has been systemic improvements on that score.
But, you know, many would think that that is the cooperative federalism is what the bureaucracy will say, or because you have your state has good relations with the center, that's why. But the detractors will say it's a fixed match between BJP and BJD. I'm asking you because now you're BJD. You are not just a bureaucrat.
No, when BJD is not convinced about something, BJD has not gone ahead with BJP. I'll give you two examples. One is the farmers' bill. We didn't support. BJD did not support. Farmers' bill was withdrawn. The second one was NRC. Our chief minister made it very clear it's not good for the country. So there are instances where the chief minister or the BJD has not supported the center in issues which concerns the nation, and when BJD or the chief minister is convinced about it, they have supported.
So how does it work? Because when it comes to voting, your party consistently votes with the BJP. But on issues, there are times when it doesn't work. But in spite of that, there seems to be, like, you know, in other states, one hears about double engine sarkar. Here, it's not double engine sarkar. It's not a BJP government, but somehow your state seems to be accruing the benefits of being a double engine sarkar.
I think our chief minister believes in not doing politics when elections are not around. He believes strongly in work. He says that I am in this job to work for the people. Whatever will help the state, whatever will help the people of the state, he will take that decision at that point of time. He is very clear in his approach.
Let me come back to you. Otherwise, we are talking about the state and Naveen Babu all the time, but I want to come back to you. You've been a bureaucrat for several years, and you had the confidence, and you have continued to have the confidence of the most powerful man in the state. Why did you decide to leave the bureaucracy and join the party?
Okay. I decided because I was inspired by the chief minister, the way he was into public service. And it was not a grand plan or something for me to enter. I would say that 1 year back, if you had asked me, are you going to join politics? I would have firmly said no. And if somebody my batchmates will laugh if they know that I have resigned and I have joined a party because it was not in my plan at all. 1 year, 8-9 months back, I started touring the districts. And I saw the love and affection of people. It was very humbling. I thought that I should not be bound by bureaucratic rules in reaching out to the people. And that is the only reason why I resigned and joined, inspired by the Chief Minister. But I had no plans whatsoever to join politics. No plans.
Over 10 years, you've been touring the state with the chief minister, right? So how was this tour different from the earlier tours?
So this time I toured on my own. I have always traveled with the Chief Minister. This time I traveled on my own to all 30 districts, 146, 47 constituencies. We took this exercise because after COVID, the footfall in the Chief Minister's grievance cell had reduced. We had closed the grievance cell for 2 years. The Chief Minister's grievance cell.
Okay, why?
Because COVID. So
okay.
those times we closed, and after that it never picked up. People had stopped coming, very less footfall in the grievance cell. So the Chief Minister decided that, why don't we reach out? This is the first time in a state, in any state, the Chief Minister office went and did grievance in a decentralized manner in constituencies, in blocks. So with that, when I went there, and I committed to people that your problem, this problem will be solved in 10 days, this problem will be solved in 15 days, this problem will be solved in 1 month. And the system rose to that occasion, and with Honorable Chief Minister's guidance, whatever timelines we had set, it was all being met. It was completely magical. We had thousands of petitions, all transparent way it has been disposed of. So when I went to the people, when I met them, I realized that there is a strong connect with people. And I thought, being a bureaucrat, I won't be able to reach out to them. I have to get out of bureaucracy. It was an inner call.
Was it, when did you tell Naveen Babu this, and was it the first time that this conversation happened between you and Naveen Babu, where you said you want to join the party?
He also saw the videos and other things of people's interaction and everything. So then both of us discussed, and yes, perhaps I should join, and maybe I'll be of little help to him, whatever way I could be.
So he didn't suggest to you before that become part of the party? And
so we never had a chance to have any discussion like that. I was very clear in what I was doing. I had no plans whatsoever.
So which is what, like implementing what he tells you to do, is that what you were doing?
Implementing what he tells to do, and also doing value addition. Implementation anyone can do.
Okay.
You have to add value. You should have the guts to say, sir, this may not work out. And he gave that freedom. He gave that confidence. At any time, if you think something what he is doing may not be helpful to the people or may lead to corruption, he gave the confidence to say, sir, this may not work well. It may not go well. Fine. He will ask me the reasons. We'll say. So I have been part of major decisions of the state. Whatever value addition you can do with a clear heart, keeping only people in mind, because I know his mind. He is for the people. And so it's easy to work. You will know from 360 degree, you will have some grassroots idea to tell. So,
but it's like, you know, powerful bureaucrats, like if I was to say, like say Mr. Brijesh Mishra with Atal Bihari Vajpayee, you know, they become like gatekeepers to their boss. So many politicians don't like it because you can't get closer to the boss, you can't talk. So like say a number 2 or a number 3 of a political party then says that, oh, I have to go through this guy, and he becomes the person who will interpret everything. So, you know, usually powerful bureaucrats have that issue with the party. There's a lot of jealousy also involved. So how are you going to keep that, you know, now that you're part of the party, now you have to gel with the party people also, isn't it?
yeah.
So how does that work? How will you have that
I think
HR problem
I think
resolved?
I have been working for more than a decade with BJD, because you know that Chief Minister's office is a political office. So you interact with MLAs, MPs, Panchayat Raj institutions on a daily basis. Whatever is their issues, they come to the Chief Minister. He gives it to you for sorting out, coordinate with people. So we have a great rapport with, I don't think that's an issue at all. I've been working with them, so should not be a problem.
But you were like the unstated thing. You didn't have a post as such, but everybody knew that all departments come under you.
No, if you take the Prime Minister's office, the Principal Secretary to Prime Minister reviews all departments. It's the mandate which the Prime Minister gives. Right. It's the same in the Chief Minister's office. I am not working as an officer there. I am working on the directions of the chief minister. In chief minister office, all departments are under the chief minister. Every cabinet note comes to the chief minister office for approval. Every policy decision comes. Every posting which has of significance, whether it is all India service or class 1 officers, it comes to the chief minister. So chief minister has control over all the departments, and that's how accountability is fixed in democracy.
Correct.
So you are there to help him, aid him. So there is nothing like who is junior, who is senior, or no. You are representing the chief minister in getting things done. That's it.
Yeah, so there's principal secretary and there's cabinet secretary, right? So like when I spoke about Brijesh ji and Atal ji, that is one. But Brijesh ji never did politics as such. You know, he was like a coordinator with the bureaucracy and with the cabinet. Then there is also R.K. Dhawan and Indira Gandhi, if you realize.
Yeah.
And R.K. Dhawan had to do the job of managing politics, quelling rebellions, and especially when there were very, very strong, political machinations that needed to be done. That Dharam Sankat, did you have at any point of time?
No, I think Naveen Babu was so good at managing everything. You are just a witness many times.
Okay.
You are just a witness many times. But whenever it is within the sphere of my work, I'll happily contribute, always. And he is the boss. He is the chief minister of the state. He enjoys the confidence. You have to run that extra mile always for him.
So jumping from the Indian administrative service to a political career, that's always a big decision to take for any bureaucrat. And especially now, you know, after the films have come out about how difficult it is to take the UPSC exam and all that. Your wife is also a bureaucrat. What was the conversation at home before you decided to join politics?
I think I got always support from my family, my mother, my brother, everyone. Nobody had any issue with it because they know that I have that clarity in my mind, what I want to do. So I just told everyone that I think people have so much of love and affection. I should not be bound by bureaucracy now. I should move little. I should have little more freedom. And I must confess, even though I was a bureaucrat, I was always a little bit of an activist. I had that streak in me always. Whether it is corruption, whether it is working for the people, you take, if you take my career as a whole, whether it is Dharamgad as sub-collector when I worked for the farmers, I faced threats, I faced every possible situation. But I had that great satisfaction that I could ensure minimum support price for farmers at that point of time. And I put a system in place which was adopted. Then I went to Rourkela as additional district magistrate. I was heading a agency called the Rourkela Development Agency, which was bankrupt. I had only 7 months tenure there. Retired people had invested their lifetime savings in Rourkela Development Authority, thinking that they will all get houses. 20 years they have been waiting. Many of them are dead. But Rourkela Development Authority could neither repay nor give them houses. I had 8 months' time. I took it as a challenge that I'll return back all the money to them. I could do it without interest. I went all out. Closed, we all know about the Supreme Court orders on closing commercial establishments in houses, domestic houses. That happened 10 years later than when I did in 2004-05. Closed all the residential premises having commercial establishments. So in 2 months, the Rourkela Development Authority, which was bleeding, had got a 15 crore surplus. And in 5th month, we could pay back all the money to all those people, retired employees, people who have invested their lifetime cost savings.
Who must have given up anyway, right?
Given up all hope. And I stayed for only 8 months. I'm just giving you that examples. Little bit of activism was always there. Then I went to Mayurbhanj, the largest district of the country. One of the largest districts of the country, where you have this beautiful Simlipal. I was one of the youngest collectors there. In fact, when I joined there, one political leader came to meet me on a Sunday. So he mistook, when I met him, he asked, he smiled, and I met him in my residence office. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, met him. So he asked, where is your dad? I said, he is back home. Oh, when is he coming back? I couldn't get it. He may come anytime. He may come after 6 months. Then I realized that he confused my father for the collector, and I said, no, I'm the collector here.
Okay.
So in Mayurbhanj, this is a tribal district. I realized that disabled people, because it's a very large district, differently abled people, persons with disability, or I call them a differently abled people, they were not getting certificates. For a differently able person,
That's
he has
the
to get
passport.
that is the passport. And for that, he has to go to 5 offices, to 5 different government offices, you can imagine, for a differently abled person to go to Tahsil office, to go to RTO office, to go to collector office, to go to block office, 5, 6 offices he has to go to get his basic thing of a differently abled certificate. And then he has to go to the chief district medical officer office to get the certificate. He has to go in a queue. The board sits. If there are 500 people who have come or 100 people who have come, that day the board may take up only 20 people or 30 people. So the differently abled person has to come often, again and again, to get a certificate. It was a very painful process. So I took up this as a challenge, and we had decentralized single window camps throughout the state. A district which was giving 700 certificates in a year, we issued 19,000 certificates in 1 year through this system. And all 100% differently able who were identified were all rehabilitated with aids, appliances, corrective surgery. And for that, Mayurbhanj district got the first best district in rehabilitation of disabled.
Okay.
Then NREGS was introduced at that point of time. I introduced bank payment system. So I'm giving every example to show that little bit of an activist was always there. In fact, when I was doing this single window system, the doctors were not very supportive in the first instance. Nobody was supportive.
Why?
Because they have to move to different places. And it is a very transparent process. Transparency hits sometime.
Correct. Yes.
So the system was not very adaptive at that point of time, but later on the doctors had so much of satisfaction. They all came and praised it, sir, we never thought that this will work. Doctors, bureaucrats, officers, none of them believed that this can work actually. So, but it was pushed and we delivered. I got Helen Keller Award for this. Generally, it is given to activists. It's
Yes,
generally
for
given to activists.
bureaucrats,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very rare for a bureaucrat to get Helen Keller Award for working for the differently able.
For differently able. So you have the ability, and I think you take it up as a challenge to ruffle feathers if need be.
No, I take the team along. I take the team along, but I'm very firm when I decide something to be done. I went to Ganjam district after that. Just one more example.
That's South Odisha.
Yeah, South Odisha. That used to be that is the chief minister's district as well.
Constituency,
Yeah.
yes.
So NREGS was introduced. National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. UPA had introduced NREGS. So at that point of time, there was no need for payments to be made in through bank. But that is where corruption was all happening. If you don't make bank payments of wages, leakages happen. You have to get the muster roll. You can manipulate the muster roll. You show 100 rupees, but you pay only 50 rupees or 60 rupees. So I decided that we will go ahead with bank payments. First of all, there was no concept of this opening mass bank accounts at that point of time. Now you have the Jan Dhan and all those schemes to open bank accounts. That time banks were also not ready to open zero balance accounts. It was not a policy.
Yeah, correct.
So, but somehow we convinced the banks. We opened about 1,20,000 bank accounts, zero bank accounts, when there was no policy. And many of our people's representatives went to the chief minister and said that this boy is little theoretical. He wants to pay all the bank wages through, wages through banks.
Bank account.
Which is not being done throughout the country. Why he is interested? It will boomerang on us. This was just before the 2009 elections. So they told him, why don't you convince him or why don't you counsel him and say that after elections, why don't you experiment this? Don't do this now. It's not going to help
because
us.
pilferage helps many people, right?
Or one way is that, and second is that maybe
help
you
in
are...
the sense, I want to put it in quotes. Help, if you know what I mean.
Or one more way is that you don't know how it is going to roll out. It may actually anger the people to go to banks, collect money. Both are same. Both are equally true.
Yeah.
So you stop the pilferage. So they all went and the people's representatives went and suggested that why don't we implement this great idea after 2009 elections. So the chief minister called me and asked me, Mr. Pandian, is it practicable? Will you be able to get it done? I told, sir, my plan is to pay at least 100 crores through bank accounts to the people. You will see the impact, sir. Don't worry about political fallout. People will support. Trust me. He trusted me.
Okay.
And BJD, which was not getting all the seats in Ganjam, they will lose 2, 3, 1 like that. They got all the seats. People were so happy. The district and I was felicitated for being the best district in the country for NREGS. I think Mr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. He awarded. And they took me in the task force of NREGS in the central level. And one of the strong suggestions and case study which was given was from Ganjam. That if Ganjam district can pay 100 crore rupees in 6 months as wages through banks, when there was no policy to pay through banks, then they implemented in 200 districts. Bank payment. That's how the bank payment in NREGS started. So why I gave all these examples is, there is a chief minister who appreciated all these pro-people initiatives.
Yeah.
And he appreciated the activist inside me as well.
Yeah, because for a bureaucrat, it's almost impossible to do these kind of reformative changes without a political support, right?
I think so. And in fact, many of my batchmates or many colleagues in IAS, they have all done well whenever there is a support like this. When you have a supporting chief minister, supportive political leader who is happy to take risk for the sake of people, then things change.
Okay. So please tell me a little bit about the Jagannath Temple corridor, because that is also a huge task that was undertaken, and I believe that some very reformative changes have taken place for devotees who go to the temple, and it's the beating heart of Odisha. It is something that that signifies so much for people of the state. But before that, a short primer for viewers and listeners who may not know much about the Jagannath Puri temple. The Jagannath temple is a 10th century temple in Puri dedicated to the form of Vishnu. Puri is one of the 4 sacred sites or dhams of Hinduism, Badrinath, Dwarka and Rameshwaram being the other 3. For generations of Udiyas who could not do the parikrama or the circumambulation around the temple because of congestion and encroachment, this is a wonderful opportunity. A huge and ambitious project costing about 800 crore rupees. This was completed in January 2024. It's been made possible for devotees now to have darshan around the magnificent temple with a wide corridor and a visual connect from all directions for the pilgrims. And about 50,000 devotees visit the temple every day. So I'll come back to you and ask you as to how did you do this corridor, how was it built, and what were the challenges that you faced while building this? Because in addition to what you were talking about the district, the changes that you brought, this is something that is that has potential to make the Jagannath temple not just something special for the people of the state and for Eastern India, but for everybody around the country.
It was sometime in 2018. I was traveling with the chief minister to Puri. I think New Year's time. He goes to Puri on New Year's Day. I was sitting behind him in his car when we were traveling to Puri. First I saw in one hoarding of Lord Jagannath, he was closing his eyes and prayed. I missed it. After that I thought, okay, maybe he saw Lord Jagannath in road for the first time in the hoarding, he prayed. Then after that, in another 1 kilometer, there was one more hoarding and he closed his eyes and prayed. And then I saw that entire road of 50 kilometers, wherever he saw Lord Jagannath's photo in the hoarding, he closed his eyes and prayed. That gave me the courage to ask him. And I always knew that he is a big bhakta of Lord Jagannath. So that gave me the courage to ask him, you are such a big bhakta of Lord Jagannath, sir. You want to do something for this for the temple. So he said, I would be very happy if we clean up this place. This is how it all started with in 2018.
Because of his personal commitment.
Absolutely.
And you reading that.
I reading that, and I go to Lord Jagannath temple every Saturday, and I have seen how much people want changes to happen in the surrounding. They wanted to do parikrama, they couldn't do parikrama because the main road is the road in which they have to do parikrama.
And it's congested there. It was.
It's a thoroughfare. It's the main road of the Puri town. So you can't do parikrama. Coming to the Honorable Chief Minister, so when we discussed, so we called the then MP and MLA of Puri and said that I only discussed with them. Boss thinks like that. He wants to do something like this. He wants to clean up 75 meters all surrounding the temple. 75 meters was suggested by a judicial commission that for the safety and security of the temple, you have to clean up 75 meters from the temple, all sides. So the MP and MLA put their hand in their head and sat down and said that I don't think it's a good idea. Taking 10 meters itself is a mammoth task. Nobody has attempted. I think please tell Honorable CM it's not possible. I said no, he has decided that we'll go ahead with this. He just wanted to tell you and take you into confidence. He said, the Honorable MLA, he said that I think we may lose. Honorable CM had told at that time only that if you lose, it's okay. If I lose also, it's okay. I want this thing to be done. That was the conviction he had, the courage of conviction he had in doing this project. In fact, one of the, one very, very important person, when we told about this plan, he told that 500 years nobody has done it. The last time temple ka something major happened 500 years back. And there were English collectors, there were Rajas, Maharajas, British collectors who wanted to do something. They couldn't do. And there were two chief ministers before you who tried to do this. One is your father and another one was J.B. Patnaik. Both of them also tried. Genuinely they tried. And both of them stopped after some time because of various reasons. So are you sure that you, because of the risk, political risk involved in this project, are you sure you want to do? The Chief Minister was very clear and he said, I am in my 5th term. I want to do this for the people of Odisha. They have reposed so much faith in me and they have so much love, affection and respect and faith on Lord Jagannath. I have to do this for the people of Odisha. I have to, even if I have to risk my political career, be it so, no problem. I'll risk this. I'll do this.
What is the political risk?
There was a huge political narrative being done. The temple is going to collapse. The temple will collapse. How do you tell people, no, the temple will not collapse? It's very easy to create these kind of negative
Because
rumors.
of what? Vibration of the
Because
construction?
of vibration or because of construction or it will... They had all kinds of rumors being created. And when you create a rumor, now you have a powerful social media. There are some people who are very good in social media narratives. So when they do these things, it hits. And you are, actually you are playing with fire. It's a living God.
Did you have a scientific, I want to come back to the living God, but before that, did you have scientific studies done?
Absolutely. We had a ground penetrating radar study conducted by a Gujarat agency, which used to do it for Archaeological Survey of India as well. We had 2 rounds to find out if there is anything archaeologically important all surrounding the temple where we are planning to work. There was absolutely nothing. So that's how we went ahead. And in fact, we had deployed IITs to continuously monitor what kind of vibration is happening and how we scientifically monitor 24/7. If the allowed vibration is X, we didn't cross even 1/10 of X. That's how it was done. So it is very easy for people to create these rumors, number one, and create panic amongst people. When you create panic amongst people or rally people that this project is not going to help, then you are taking a political risk. And if it's a living God, rituals, everything have to happen on time.
Okay, explain that to me, the living God.
So Lord Jagannath has certain times in which he has to have food, certain number of times he changes his clothes, and before going to sleep there are rituals, there are continuous rituals.
And those can't be put on hold for construction?
No, it has nothing to do with that. But if people are not cooperating and people create a problem and dislocate the rituals, what kind of an impact it will have? Because we are going to relocate most of the Sevaites who are into the rituals. and whose houses are being relocated, whose business establishments are relocated, whose commercial establishment, lodges, hotels, all of them are being relocated. So if they wanted to create an issue, and if politically somebody instigates them, they instigated.
Was there cooperation that you got from people who lived around? I'm asking you simply because, when Kashi redevelopment happened, I went to cover out there because there were this rumors there also at that time.
Absolutely.
That, oh, you're relocating people who have been living here for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, right.
Generations of people whose families, one family after they were doing puja samagri, selling, their fathers sold puja samagri, they did all that, they are being relocated. So many of us went to do the stories to see whether that is true or not, and we found that people were willingly giving up their homes and moving to another area. And when the redevelopment was happening there, suddenly they found there were prachin temples, old temples within those houses which nobody even knew about. So these are things which come up later. Did you learn from those experiences that how people cooperated? Anything like that happened?
Absolutely. We had sent teams both to Amritsar and to Varanasi.
Golden Temple around,
and learn about what kind of land acquisition processes they had undergone and what challenges they faced. We learned. We are very open about learning. Coming to this point about the risks involved, one is the temple ka safety and security, and second, playing with the sentiments of Sevayats. If some political party they wanted actually to create an issue, they can stop the rituals from being happening, or they can do anything they want. So, but it was His grace, the Lord's grace, that He wanted it to happen. There was absolutely no problem from the Sevayat side. They cooperated willingly. They came forward. People cried not because they are losing their lodges, which was giving them a livelihood, not because their houses are being translocated. They basically cried or they were emotional because when they get up, they have to look at the Lord, Ka Neel Chakra. They have to do Mundia to the temple. When they do something, they have to look at the temple. That we are relocating them. That was the emotional problem they had. Otherwise, they all supported completely, wholeheartedly. Such a massive project, if I may say so, it's one of the thickly populated areas of the country, all surrounding Puri temple. One of the densely populated areas, and they have been living for generations at that place. And we didn't have a single land acquisition case in that place. We got the land acquisition done in record time.
And the funds for that?
The state government provided the funds. The Honorable Chief Minister provided generous funds to make people happy. They are losing a lot of stuff, but let them be compensated nicely. That was his spirit behind this whole thing.
And the inauguration happened just a couple of days before the Ram Temple inauguration, the Pran Pratishtha that happened in Ayodhya. Suddenly, a lot of it came into focus. I want to ask you, of course, you may say that the timing was not in the same manner, but was it just coincidence that also happened in January, this also happened in January?
To be honest, we wanted to complete this temple project in 2023 January. There was a Supreme Court case which went on for 6 months, 8 months or so. That's how it got delayed. Otherwise, our target was 2023, we were planning to finish the temple project. It's only because of the Supreme Court case, it got delayed. After the case was disposed, there were vested interest groups who didn't want this project to happen. There were political leaders who didn't want this project to happen. They all thought that Naveen Patnaik will get name or Naveen Patnaik is doing for elections. Actually, Naveen Patnaik doesn't have to do anything like this for elections. He wins otherwise also.
Yeah, he's not a political temple goer.
Absolutely.
Right?
In fact, he took such a big risk when everyone explained to him the risk involved. He never thought about a political mileage out of this. He wanted people of Odisha to remember him for creating this parikrama all surrounding, and he didn't want a legacy issue to continue on. As people say, 24 years, generally kings, emperors, those time people used to get that kind of a tenure. In democracy, it's very difficult. for a leader to get this kind of a tenure, 25 years. So when he took oath for the 5th term, he was very moved, he was very emotional, and he decided that, Mr. Pandian, let's list out all the legacy issues of the state. People of the state have been so good to me. I have to finish all the legacy issues of the state. People won't forgive me or history won't judge me properly if I still leave legacy issues. We listed all the legacy issues and went one after another, one after another. This, I won't say it as a legacy issue, but this had huge challenges. As the Raja of Puri mentioned, 500 years nobody has done anything substantial for the temple. It was Naveen Patnaik who did. He risked his political career and he did this. He didn't do it for political mileage. It's not that you are going to construct something new in a fresh place. This is a temple in which so much people of faith is there, and one step going wrong, your politics is over and your government will fall. That's what people said.
The buzzword in Odisha is about this 5T, which is the Charter of Governance, which has transparency, technology, teamwork, time leading, and transformation. Of course, in the state, everybody knows about it. But I also want to know how this was put into action when you did the Jagannath temple, and was it just for that temple, or did you use this technology and teamwork regarding other mutts also?
This 5T is a governance principle of the Chief Minister. He deploys this in every public service. And one classic example you can say is Jagannath temple renovation or any major project where every process is transparent. Teamwork, the Chief Minister means is involve the community, involve all the stakeholders here, Sevayats, local people, political leaders, take everyone along and make it their own project, make them own the project. That is teamwork. And then he fixes always time. In government, generally, we don't give value to time. There is no time audit. He introduced the concept of time audit for projects. If it is 3 years, you have to complete it in 3 years. If it is 6 months, you have to complete in 6 months. Otherwise, accountability will be fixed. If you do it well, you will be rewarded. If you don't do it in time, you will face the consequences. So that is the time, the seriousness of time he inculcated in all of us.
And all the other temples, or any other than the Jagannath Puri temple, what were the others?
There is Ma Samalai temple in the west, in Sambalpur. That also got hugely renovated now. The Honorable Chief Minister dedicated it some time back, a week back. In addition to that, every major temple in the state is getting renovated. The state will be renovating about 10,000 temples in the state. We are planning to apply for Guinness record.
Amazing.
In addition to that, if I may say, so many churches and so many mosques and so many gurudwaras are also being renovated. This is a time in which so many religious institutions have got a fresh lease of breath thanks to the support given by the state and the Chief Minister.
The spiritual governance which you were talking about.
Yes, the spiritual governance.
Right.
And going to the Puri temple, one of the biggest criticism which we faced was that the mutts are getting demolished. That was being politically raised to stall the project, and it was used to create agitation amongst the people's minds that mutts are being broken or age-old mutts are being destroyed. But actually, the mutts are covered with commercial establishments. They had lodges, they had shops, they had mandaps, commercial activity. So the government only removed the commercial part of the mutt and compensated them very handsomely. And earlier how the mutts used to look and now how the mutts used to look, they got a chance to breathe fresh air now. That's how I put it. In fact, for one of the mutt, which is called the Mangu mutt, this mutt, the case went up to Supreme Court. The then Chief Minister of Punjab wrote to our Chief Minister, and there were delegations from SGPC and others who came. So we explained to them the present mutt, the Mangu mutt, where Guru Nanak used to stay there and meditate looking at the Lord Jagannath temple. The mutt was actually surrounded by shops, and one of the shop ka septic tank, the toilet was above the Garbhagriha of the mutt. I'll show you photographs.
Okay.
That was the stage in which it was. In fact, we showed this photo and video to Supreme Court. When the case went to Supreme Court, they claimed that the Mangu Mutt, which is a religious symbol, is being destroyed. It was not.
Sacred to the Sikhs
Absolutely,
as well, not
absolutely,
just Hindus.
absolutely. So we removed everything, and the Mangu Mutt looks so beautiful now. In fact, all the mutts look like real mutts. The commercial portion is removed, and they have started breathing again. They look like mutts. That divine atmosphere is something to be seen, to be believed. Maybe tomorrow you'll see that. Okay. We'll show you the before photos and the after photos.
Right. It's a fifth term where he wants all legacy issues to be done. And in that term comes a pandemic.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what were the challenges you faced? Because you are putting his ideas and his thing into, fruition. So what were the challenges you faced? Did you tell him that, listen, there's a pandemic, so let's do this next term?
The temple project? No. We were very clear in what all needs to be done, and he doesn't believe in postponing things at all. He knows the timing, and he was very clear in what all needs to be done. In fact, pandemic also, we were one of the best states in handling the pandemic. We are one of the few states which took the entire burden of expenses, medical expenses of people, from testing to treatment to getting treated in hospitals, from ICU charges to everything was borne by the government. No, I don't think any state has done it. In fact, we took over all the private hospitals of the state. All their beds were taken over by the government, and they were paid for every bed, every medicine, everything was paid by the government. The entire COVID management was done out of the payment for all the expenses of people of Odisha were done by state.
The temple issue, I want to come back to that, because we saw what has happened in Puri, then the Ayodhya, now Kashi is coming in. And just before all this was this controversy about Sanatan Dharma. There are, politicians who say that Sanatan Dharma is, it's like a disease. It needs to be eradicated from this country. And in fact, from your home state, if I may say, it's from Tamil Nadu that this originated, Dravidian politics, and they say this. What is your view about it personally? What do you have to say about this?
I think they have to study a little more before making these kind of statements. If they study properly, they will understand what is Sanatan Dharma, and they will also start appreciating Sanatan Dharma.
So does it play a role in your life as a bureaucrat, as a politician? Does Sanatan Dharma play a role?
See, I strongly believe in Lord Jagannath and destiny and karma. So I don't have any confusions on all these things. I never thought that I'll get into IAS. I was studying in a government school. I never thought I'll top the national entrance when it was done for agriculture. I never thought I'll become close to a chief minister. I never thought I'll leave IAS and join politics. So there is some force which is pushing you, and I believe strongly that it is a divine force. So you surrender to that force, respect, be grateful. Everyone has to appreciate that. And it's a private space, one lives at that spot.
What do you have to say to the separation of religion and governance? Are they so, intersecting at a very, a powerful manner these days as compared to, say, when you joined the services?
I would say that respecting one's religion or respecting and giving support to religion cannot be seen something against the principles of governance. You support all religions.
Yeah.
You be fair to everyone.
What is it like in Odisha? Does religion, caste, all these play major roles when politics is practiced? Does it come up to the forefront during elections?
I don't think so. In Odisha, it doesn't have much of an impact. And our chief minister has ensured secular governance throughout. In fact, I'll say spiritual governance throughout.
Spiritual governance?
Yes.
That's interesting. Explain that. Why do you say that?
He appreciates every religion for whatever values it holds, and he supports everyone. If majority of the population is Hinduism, So you renovate temples, you restore temples. You are elected by the people. So you have to appreciate the faith of people. Some portion of the people want their mosques to be renovated, you do that. Some portion wants their churches to be restored, you do that. So there is space for everything. You don't have to this is not mutually exclusive. You can do everything, but you respect people's faith. That's very important for a leader. If 95% of Odisha has a Hindu population and they believe in Lord Jagannath, you have to do something for Lord Jagannath. That's why you are there for. You have to respect the people's faith. You honor the people's faith, but don't allow it to interfere in your government decisions. You treat everyone equally.
Right. You said that the temple project was supposed to be completed in 2023, but it happened in 2024. But what is happening is that many people say that there is competitive Hindutva politics going on all across the country. Do you agree with that?
I can tell about Odisha. There is nothing like it, because Naveen Patnaik doesn't believe in doing temple or church or mosque renovation to win elections. He does what he strongly believes in. He is very competent to win his election without doing all these things. So he doesn't believe in any of these things, and the state people appreciate him for what he does.
Why is it that Naveen Babu, as well as his father, they stayed in state politics, even though they are they are larger than life figures for the people of Odisha, but they never had ambitions to go beyond the state? Why is that the case?
I think Biju Babu was little more national than Naveen Babu. Naveen Babu was very clear in why he came to politics. In one of his interviews, he has told very clearly he was never interested in politics. He had no exposure to politics. Biju Babu had kept them away from politics, all the three children. So in one of his interviews, he has told very clearly that I came after my father's death. They went to one of the orphanages, they met people, how much love and affection and trust they have for Biju Babu, and suddenly they felt orphaned. The people felt orphaned.
Yeah.
So that is something which made him take this call, which he was otherwise not willing to do. That's how he entered politics.
Tell me a little bit about that incident. You know, when I interviewed Naveen Babu, he spoke at that time about that incident when his father rescued the Indonesian Prime Minister. Has he spoken about that incident with you? Does he talk about it? Do people in Odisha even talk about that incident?
Of course. I think it's a legendary story of a legend.
Could you tell it to our viewers and listeners? Because there are many youngsters, especially expat, Indians who live abroad in America and all, who watch this show, who may not be aware of the legend of Biju Patnaik.
Okay. So I'll tell 3-4 things about Biju Patnaik. We should call him, he was a phenomenon. Okay. He was not a leader. And he was way ahead of his times. He made some profit in his company when he was running so many companies. What he did, the first profit, what he made, he went all the way to Paris, mobilized some more funds, and set up Kalinga Prize for popularization of science as an alternative for Nobel Prize. He went all the way to UN and set up this when he was 32 or 33.
This is 1960s, I would think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So apparently Jawaharlal Nehru called and asked, I think that time this clearances for depositing money and all goes to the Prime Minister at that time, maybe because of this, this exchange policy and all. Why he wants to set up a international prize for popularization of science? Why can't you do something in India? So he was called and he asked, and Biju Babu said that I want to set up something in my state's honor. It will be called Kalinga Prize for Popularization of Science. I am convinced that I have to do it at the UN, so I'll do it for the state. Imagine that mid-30s person. What kind of thinking is it? Thought process. He makes some profit, takes it, goes there and sets up and even now many Nobel laureates have got the award, Kalinga Prize, UNESCO Kalinga Award. Very popular, prestigious award.
Yeah.
And what he did with that, he made an arrangement with them. He was very convinced that if India has to move forward, scientific temper has to come into the people. So what he did, and he was very convinced that industrial revolution, when it happened in the Europe, India was bypassed. So if we do popularization of science, India will come up. India will also get a chance to be a global leader. That was the thought process by which he went there. So anyone who wins this Kalinga UNESCO award, they have to come to India, spend about 2 months or so, going to the universities, giving speech on why science is important, how innovative you can be. See the thought process behind this whole thing. It was way ahead of his time.
Amazing. Yeah.
The commitment he had for the country to popularize science, the commitment he had for the state, he went and put the name Kalinga in UNESCO, and the commitment he had for overall development, that he made some profit and he went all the way to Paris and set up a award. Even now it's one of the most popular awards. This is one example I should give about Biju Babu. The next example, of course, everyone knows about how he went all the way to Indonesia. It was the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's call that these Danish troops are again coming back, and there is a rebellion happening, and you have to help rescue the Indonesian freedom fighters.
Yeah.
So if you don't rescue the freedom fighters, there is a possibility the country again going back to Dutch rule. So he trusted Biju Babu to go and rescue. Here there is a very interesting part which many people will not know. His co-pilot was his wife, Gyan Ma was his co-pilot. And this happened, I think, in 1947. Naveen Babu was 1 year old. Imagine a father who takes the mother also with him in a daredevil mission all the way to Java in their Dakota flight to rescue the Indonesian freedom fighters.
Yeah.
That is the commitment of this man. He was a pilot. He was a pilot. So he went all the way. And we all should know that 7 days or 10 days before he went and landed, one more aircraft of his Kalinga Airlines was shot down by the Dutch forces. Almost everyone was killed except one. So that is the risk he was taking. Because the Prime Minister said, there was a conference of Asian countries going to happen in Delhi. If the Indonesia will not be represented here by their freedom fighters, Indonesia as a country will not have a representation here. That was the brief given to Biju Babu by Pandit Nehru. So he went all the way via Singapore, went there. He used all his techniques to fly low to avoid the radar. He landed there, and then there was no fuel available. So all these tanks and damaged aircraft, which was left by Japanese forces, he mobilized fuel from that and used it and flew all the way with the freedom fighters to Singapore and then to India. That's how he has played a huge role in the Indonesian freedom struggle. And he was awarded Bhumiputra by Indonesia.
Sukarno, no? President Sukarno gave at that time.
President Sukarno gave, and they were family friends. And
his daughter also then, Sukarno Putri.
So she was named by Biju Babu.
Biju Babu. Yeah, tell us about that also. That's true.
So she was named Megawati. So
the
whatever
clouds, there was that whole thing that
rains
was
happening.
raining,
So he named her as Megawati. So she was Megawati Sukarno Putri.
Yeah, correct. It's such an interesting story.
Absolutely.
So there's this cult of Biju Babu, and then there is a cult of Naveen Babu. Now Naveen
In fact,
Odisha.
I'll share one more very interesting stuff
Please do.
about
Yes.
Biju Babu, which many people would not know. This was during the Indo-Bangladesh War.
Yeah, Kashmir.
Indo-Bangladesh War.
He brought the troops there.
No. In Kashmir, he was one of the first pilots to land in Srinagar when
the
rebels came, and he rescued a lot of people. He airdropped a lot of force. That was a turning point in the Kashmir issue at that point of time. This is about Indonesia. This is about
Bangladesh.
Yes,
Liberation War.
Yes. At that point of time, Indonesia was approached by Pakistan to support Pakistan in the war. against India's war for Bangladesh. So Pakistan sought the support of Indonesia, both being Muslim-dominated countries. So they were wanting to safeguard Bangladesh.
And they wouldn't have to fly over the Indian subcontinent. They could have flown from Indonesia, the troops. That is also was one of the
That was one of the ideas.
Yeah.
I think this was clearly for deploying the Navy and give a deterrent in the Bay of Bengal. So if they deploy the Navy and give a deterrent, then it will cause problems in force deployment for India. So that time the Prime Minister asked Biju Babu to take up with the Prime Minister of Indonesia. This many people don't know. He spoke and he stopped Indonesia from getting into the war. And that was a big turning point at that point of time for the war. And that really helped India. These are things which nobody knows. In fact, he was responsible for setting up the Indo-Tibet Border Protection Force. He was tasked to find out how do we seal our borders, what should we do. So he gave the suggestion for setting up the Indo-Tibetan Border Security Force and take as many people from the locality, make them a force. They should be the first line of defense for India.
Quite amazing. Quite amazing about the contribution of Biju Babu for the national security of this country.
Absolutely. In fact, one more issue is that he was sent by Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister, to United States. I think that was the Chinese War. So he was 62, yeah. So he was asked to go and mobilize for
Public
support
opinion.
also for arms support.
Okay.
He was sent. So he didn't go on. He went and asked for arms as well as he asked for nuclear support. That time there was a furor in the parliament, Indian parliament. So he said that if China has nuclear weapons, if they are planning to attack India, what India will do. So if I go there, I don't go for guns. I have to ask something substantial, strategic for India. That is the kind of thought process he had for the country.
Certainly not the pacifist that Nehru
Absolutely.
was.
He was completely committed for the country, and come what may, whatever is the superpower they are, we should show our power. That was the commitment with which he always functioned. We all know about the interim test range in Chandipur.
The range here.
Range,
Yes.
from where all our missiles are tested.
Yeah.
So there is an interesting story in that as well. So the DRDO identified 2-3 places in the country to set up the test firing range, interim test ranges to fire the missiles. The topmost place was in Balasore. They selected these Wheeler Islands. They thought that this cannot be identified, secure, and it won't hit the population even if some mistake happens. So all those safety hazards and everything put together, they selected this Wheeler Island. And the files were put up for the chief minister.
That's in the Bay of Bengal.
Bay of Bengal, which is part of, it's coming in Odisha.
Yeah.
So when the files were put up for giving Wheeler Islands to DRDO, none of them supported. It was in the bureaucracy, everyone rejected it, saying that, see, it will again cause serious dislocation to the fishermen. They will keep on doing tests. There will be so much of restriction. So many people are dependent on fishing this place. And it will also cause unnecessary disturbance for us. So let's not give it. Already we have given a large portion of our coast for air defense. So again, one more stretch will be lost. So Mr. Abdul Kalam was the DRDO chief that time. So he came and met Biju Babu. The file had come to Biju Patnaik with every suggestion to reject it, why it should not be accepted. Generally, the chief minister goes with the suggestions given with so much of logic it is given. So he called...
given by the bureaucrats.
Bureaucracy, yeah. The entire government setup.
Yeah, the chain of command.
Chain of command, you say.
The joint secretary puts up the file and then it goes up.
Secretary and everyone, and then field as well.
Yeah.
So when it came, so Mr. Kalam had shot an appointment. Biju Babu had called him for a discussion. So he asked him only one question, that I have seen Indo-China wars. I have an invitation to go to China now. Will you promise me that if we give the land, you will make an intercontinental ballistic missile from here which will hit the heart of China. Will you promise me? You promise me, then I will allot the land. So this is the conversation these two great nationalists had. So Mr. Abdul Kalam promised that, sir, I will do it. We have plans, and maybe in 15 years or so, we should have the ICBM tested from Wheeler Island. And Biju Babu signed the file, giving the land to them, free of cost, saying that this is in nation security, it is very much important. He rejected all the objections and he gave. The concluding part was in 2000, I'm not sure which year was that, 10, 11 or whatever year. They fired the intercontinental ballistic missile, and they had given a special invitation to the Chief Minister, Mr. Naveen Patnaik. Your father had asked us that I'll give you this land, provided you have a ICBM from this place, and this is being tested, if you could come and witness it. He couldn't go because of reasons, but he wished them. So that's how this Wheeler Island happened, and when late Abdul Kalam passed away, Chief Minister named the Wheeler Island as APJ Abdul Kalam Islands. So you can see these three great nationalists in action: Naveen Patnaik, Biju Patnaik, and APJ Abdul Kalam.
Amazing, amazing. Tell us about, like I said, there's the cult of Biju Patnaik, which we have spoken about, and the amazing contribution to national security as well as to the state that he did. Now there is Naveen Odisha. What is the legacy of Naveen Patnaik? God give him long life, and wishing you the very best for the next term also. But what is the legacy of Naveen Patnaik, which you will say? And what is Naveen Odisha? What is this term Naveen Odisha? One keeps reading everywhere and hearing about it.
Okay, so he doesn't stop with Naveen Odisha. He says Naveen Odisha is an empowered Odisha, where a poorest of poor person also will dream big, and he will be empowered to achieve his dreams. That's Naveen Odisha. Whatever is your ambition, aspiration, you should be able to achieve. We should create an environment. We should empower you. The government should empower you to achieve that. Whatever is your dream, in whichever field you have. That is the kind of narrative the Chief Minister wants to leave. When he took over in 2000, the state was affected by this super cyclone in 1999. He decided that Orissa should not be known for mishandling disasters. Orissa should be known for handling disasters in the best possible way. He put systems in place. He did a vulnerability mapping of the entire coast, put up systems, put up cyclone shelters, put up flood shelters, put up advanced warning systems. So in 2012, when Phylin super cyclone hit, everyone predicted that Odisha will be hit very badly. Thousands of people are going to lose their lives.
Yeah.
And a part of Odisha will be ripped apart. That's what was the prediction. The cyclone came, hit with 230, 240 kilometers per hour, but then not a single life was lost. And Odisha was back into action in 10 days. Electricity was restored, water supply was restored. That is new Odisha. A Odisha which sets benchmark in anything which it was known for its negativity. So we had articles written in editorial. We can check in Google. New York Times wrote a front page editorial saying that if you want to save a million life, learn it from a state called Odisha. That is the time in New Orleans in US.
Oh,
a
yes.
cyclone of lesser magnitude had hit. It was only 150, 160 kilometers per hour, but hundreds of lives were lost.
Yeah.
So New York Times took a comparison between Odisha managing Phylin with 240 kilometers per hour and New Orleans or the US managing. So that is new Odisha. So if you take disaster management, this is the new Odisha in which people of Odisha should be able to stand and look at the eye of cyclone and cross it without fear. Then the new Odisha is a food deficit Odisha to a food surplus Odisha. We are not dependent on food from other states. We are supplying for the nation's food security. A Odisha which was known for poverty is known for the maximum reduction in poverty in the country, perhaps in Asia. From 68% poverty levels, we have come to 11% poverty levels. In the last 5 years, 1 crore 5 lakh people have been lifted above poverty line, new Odisha. So in every field, the Chief Minister wants to set a benchmark by which people of Odisha feel empowered and aspirational.
You know, when we talk about self-sustaining economic models, I have to ask you about since we are going into general elections soon, about the culture of freebies. Elections are won these days on freebies, which are everybody is doing competitive politics on freebies. What is your view about it? Because that is an allegation which is made even about your state, that caste doesn't work here, communal card doesn't work here, what works is freebies. So what is your view about this?
I think one should differentiate clearly between what you do to empower people and what you do to dilute people's ambitions by giving freebies. If you give health assurance, you are very progressive. It's not considered as freebie. The biggest budget we have is for health, the Biju Swasthya Kalyan health assurance scheme. Most states follow a model of health insurance. The Chief Minister decided in a state like Odisha, we should not allow a third party like an insurance to decide on how much money should be compensated for a heart patient or how many for a kidney patient. So he went for an assurance model of health. We are covering 90% of the population with health assurance. 5 lakh rupee for the family, and if it's a woman patient, it's 10 lakh rupees. Think the empowerment it does.
This is different from the central scheme?
We are having our own scheme. We are not implementing the center scheme.
Why?
Because our scheme is much advanced and much progressive. So we don't have competition with it. The Chief Minister thought that we have to run the extra mile in a state like Odisha.
So that Ayushman Bharat scheme doesn't work here?
No, the state has not implemented.
Okay.
If we had implemented Ayushman Bharat, we would be covering 55 to 60% of the population. Here we are covering 90% of the population. He wants to take it to 100% population.
How come then there is no confrontation? Because when Mamta does the same thing, Mamta Banerjee does it in Kolkata, where she says, I don't want the central scheme, I'll do my state scheme, there's confrontation.
Here, Naveen Patnaik doesn't do for the sake of confrontation. He is convinced that people of Odisha need that extra mile running to take care of their needs. Because he thinks health is one issue which can bring down, if in a family a health issue happens, a person who has just come out of poverty, he can slip back to poverty. And it will take at least 2 generations for him to come back again. So he strongly believes that if you have to fight poverty, then you have to assure health. And you have to do it in the best possible way. I may say that this is the best scheme in the country right now, which has 90% of the population being covered, and the state is spending about 260 crores a month, which is about 3,200 crores a year. You may take the country's Ayushman Bharat ka health budget only for treatment purpose. How much is it? It will be 9,000 crores or something. If a state like Odisha is spending 3,000 odd crores, so that is the reach the Chief Minister wants to give.
It's an ambitious project.
It's an aspirational reach. Okay. He wants to cover, so that is why there is no competition. The state wanted to do something extra for the people. So Naveen Patnaik implemented Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana, which is a game changer. The way Naveen Patnaik does politics is different from most people in the country. That is why he gets elected repeatedly. And instead of anti-incumbency, he has pro-incumbency. I won't be qualified to speak about others, but I can say with all conviction, Mr. Naveen Patnaik's brand of politics is very different. He keeps people at its forefront, can take any risk for that.
So are you the heir to Naveen Babu's politics?
As Honorable CM has always said, that people of Odisha will decide who will succeed him. I think that is the best answer to give. I'm just helping him in whichever way I can. I don't have any ambitions. I'm just helping him, the Chief Minister, Mr. Naveen Patnaik, in whichever way he wants me to do for him. In fact, I'm not even contesting the elections.
Why are you not contesting the elections?
I have joined this with a clear heart to make Naveen Patnaik Chief Minister for the 6th time. So I told the Honorable Chief Minister, I am going to assist you in this election process. I am going to work for you. No expectations. I'll work for you. That is
in this state, elections are held along with the Lok Sabha polls.
Yes.
So you are not even going to contest the Lok Sabha election?
No, I'm not going to contest any. In 2024, I'm not going to contest any elections.
So you're not even going to attend, go into the assembly or the parliament through through the Rajya Sabha way?
No, no. I was asked for a party post also. I said no. I'll just work for Naveen Patnaik. He is my leader. I draw a lot of inspiration from him. He has given me so much freedom for so long to do great work. So I am indebted to him and the state. The people of state have shown so much love and affection for me. So I go with the flow.
But then you didn't need to resign from the civil service if that is how you were going to do it.
So I won't be able to do the political work for the chief minister if I'm going to continue in bureaucracy. One should draw the line. So
But what is wrong in contesting election? It's not a wrong thing to do.
no, not at all. We all are products of democracy. Ours is a democratic country. But in 2024, I decided that I should be helping the chief minister. I want to help him because whatever said and done, it's his 6th term. And I draw inspiration from him. He's 78 years old. How much hard work he does. One draws inspiration from him.
You also are known to take your meetings at 4 a.m. and things like that, right? That's the talk in this state, that you are a hard taskmaster.
I think we learn from the chief minister, but 4 a.m. is because your mind is cool and you see things in a different perspective. You don't disturb anyone. You are very clear in what you want to do. You get to see things as such. So, and it's a good time to work Brahma Muhurtam.
But Mr. Pandyan, if Naveen Babu has played such an important role in your life, in molding your thoughts, in molding your ambitions for your state, if he's going to decide that you are the Uttaradhikari, then why do you hesitate? Why are you shrinking away from that legacy that he wants to bestow on you, if he wants to do it? And it seems apparent to everybody that he wants to do that.
We are 2 months into election now. I just see, like when Arjuna was asked, all 5 Pandavas were asked what they see in the tree. Somebody said the tree ka branch and somebody said the bird, and only Arjuna saw that eye of the bird. I think I am clear in my focus right now. He has to create a record. As the longest serving chief minister of the country, he deserves it. And my sweat, blood, whatever you call it, my time, everything is for that. He has done such great work for the state. I should not think anything about myself. In fact, when I joined the party and the first speech I gave, I said that only, that after being witness to what transformation Lord Jagannath's temple has gone through, and you are also a witness in that process. I don't need anything in life. I'll just work for the chief minister. That's and I leave everything of my future to Lord Jagannath.
Nice. Pardon.
Spiritual governance.
Spiritual.
This is spiritual governance. You asked what is spiritual governance. This is what I think spiritual governance means.
Pardon me for asking this, but as a journalist, sometimes one has to ask questions which might sound harsh. I don't mean to sound harsh, but I will ask this question because...
No, you ask in the best possible way, even harsh questions.
Thank you. So I have to ask this because people talk about Naveen Babu's health being not so great. How is his health right now? Will he be able to take the rigors of an electoral process and a next term after that?
I think he is in the best of health, what one expects from a 78-year-old person who has given like 25 years of his life for public service, working day and night. For that kind of work what he has put in and the age what he is in, I think he is in the pink of his health. All these rumors, sometimes political opponents create. Sometimes inside the party, some people who are ambitious to become chief ministers, they create these kind of rumors. But otherwise, he is in the best of hands. His physician is Dr. Ramakant Panda, one of the best in the country. And Dr. Subrat Acharya. These 2 doctors take care of him for whatever he needs. So he's in the best hands and he's in the pink of health. He should be able to, he walks every day. And in fact, recently he did the full parikrama. In hot sun, he did full parikrama.
Okay.
So he's in good shape for whatever you call it for a 78-year-old.
So, why is the BJD not part of the opposition alliance? Because it is not part of the NDA, it's not part of the opposition alliance. It takes issue-based support, it gives issue-based support to the NDA when need be. What prevents him from joining the India alliance? One question is that. Second question is, did anybody from the Gandhi family ask Mr. Patnaik, because the Gandhi family had very close relations with Bijuda. So did anybody reach out to Naveen Babu asking him to be part of this alliance?
He is now 24 years as Chief Minister. They know very well as to what is Naveen Patnaik, who is Naveen Patnaik. His birth was anti-Congress in the state. He fought against the corruption of Congress in the state. So I don't see any scope for the Chief Minister to think about an alliance with Congress. He has always stated it publicly. So that's where he stands. Of course, there will be always, I think Mr. Nitish Kumar came here all the way to convince Naveen Babu to join India alliance. Mamta
And
Didi
now
also came.
Nitish Babu is in the other camp.
So many leaders keep coming, and Naveen Babu is very polite, they all know each other for quite some time, 3 decades, 2.5 decades, they know each other. They are good friends. They talk nicely. And that's where
Who are his opponents, political opponents in the state? Which party is really in the opposition as such? Because the BJP has got 8 seats, if I'm not mistaken.
So that was in 2014, they got 9 seats. This time they got 23 seats. In assembly, I'm saying.
No,
in
I'm talking about parliament.
Parliament, 8 seats, yes.
8 seats, right? And they are hoping to get more seats. So when, and what one is hearing from opinion polls and things like that is that after the Ram Temple construction, some political mileage will be got by the BJP. So does Naveen Babu see the BJP as the principal opposition when it comes to Lok Sabha in the state? And who's the principal opposition in the state elections?
See, if you take the numbers, it's the BJP, which is the opposition party in the state. Congress is third now. So both in Lok Sabha and in Assembly, BJP is the number 2 party in the state.
So how are you friends? Again, I beg to ask, I mean, I'm at the sound of repeating again and again, how is a number 1 party friends with a number 2 party? That just goes against the grain of politics, not just in India, worldwide.
So he believes in doing politics only during elections. He doesn't believe otherwise. That's how the state gets its growth momentum maintained. If you hear his speeches, he makes it very clear that I will have a constructive cooperation with the center. I want the state to progress. I am not here to fight with BJP. I am not here to fight with Congress. I want the state to grow. Whatever is required for the state to grow, I'll do it. I'll sacrifice. I'll compromise. But I want my state to grow. When elections are happening, there will be electoral politics. But otherwise, that is one of the main reasons the Chief Minister is fully supportive of simultaneous elections for both Assembly and Parliament. He thinks that the political atmosphere of the country should not always be in a high temperature. It should cool down so that development happens. If one state or other elections keep happening, the political atmosphere is vitiated. That doesn't go good for developmental politics.
So we were talking about the rebellion towards Naveen Babu. That is, we talked about one rebellion. The second rebellion is also when one talks about Jai Panda, and that, you know, he was very close to the Patnaik family. What went wrong there? What soured, and why did things go so uncomfortable between the two?
It was after 2014 elections. In 2014 elections, BJD had won 20 out of 21 seats in Lok Sabha. We were the 4th largest party. For the first time in parliamentary history, BJD became 4th largest party. Otherwise, there are bigger parties. Because BJD won 20 out of 21 seats, it became the 4th largest party. And Mr. Jayapanda called the chief minister after the swearing in was over, government formation had happened, and they were forming all these committees in 2014. So that time he had called CM, I was there. And he told that late Jetli ji had spoken to him and said that in case your party will nominate you for the committee chairmanship, then we would be interested in giving you the finance committee, which generally goes to the first opposition party, not the fourth one. It is the biggest party. It's the biggest committee or the most powerful committee. Generally, it goes to the, I think, Congress or whoever will be the number 2 party, it should be given. It is generally given as a tradition, but if you will nominate me, then they will give it to me. This is what he told. The CM asked, see, whoever BJD nominates, if they are willing to give, it's okay. But if I have to nominate you, then only that will be given. It doesn't sound good. That's what the chief minister said. And then he took some time. He had previous instances where he was a member of the finance committee. And he got many of his loans for his corporate business written off through banks, whatever process they followed. So there was always an allegation that he used his finance committee membership to get these favors done for the company. So that played in the chief minister's mind. So he didn't agree to make him as finance committee ka head. This is the proposal he gave. This is the reaction the chief minister gave. And this is what I witnessed. And after that, the relationship became, Mr. Jayapanda was not very happy with this decision. Then what happened, there were these rumors, health rumors about the chief minister. We are talking about 2015, 16, 15, 10 years back, 9 years back almost. Whenever any cabinet minister, union cabinet minister, the chief minister will meet, call on or some meeting mein, first they, how is your health, Naveen Babu? Oh, I'm fine. I don't have any problem. Then Jay told that your health is not good. It hits him. He has mentioned this in his own interview in 2019, how he spread rumors about his health. Then the worst thing happened when one of chief minister's friend, who is a very powerful political leader in Madhya Pradesh, he called Mr. Prem Patnaik, chief minister's brother, and asked him, oh, Naveen Babu is going to London for a treatment. This is 2015, 15-16. Naveen Babu is going to London for a treatment. I have so many contacts. Why he won't take my help? So Prem Patnaik said, who told you this? He is going to London for treatment. No, Jay told me that he is arranging everything. Then Mr. Prem Patnaik told that leader from Madhya Pradesh, why don't you ask Naveen Babu and ask him what help he needs. So he called, this leader from Madhya Pradesh called Naveen Babu and asked, do you need any help in London? Are you going to London? He said, no, I'm not going. Why I should go? I just went 2 years back and they attempted a coup on me. I'm not going. Then he said, no, I was told by Jay that you are going for some medical treatment and everything. Then CM was very upset. Oh, this is what is happening. Why this is what? And at that point of time, there was articles, there were social media posts, everything about how bad the chief minister's health is and how he should find somebody to take over the party and the government. And that was the narrative being played. And that is when the chief minister decided it's high time that we move away from people whom we once trusted.
But do you think that Mr. Jayapanda, being a politician of repute, would mount this kind of a rebellion, knowing fully well that that's not the way politics is done in the BJD? Because one rebellion had already failed.
No, he didn't try to create a rebellion in this case. He tried to create a narrative that chief minister's health is not good and that people should look for new leadership. That's the narrative he was trying to give. He was in a regional party. The regional party is as strong as the leader's health is. Health of a leader is an asset for a regional party. So he was trying to dilute that asset of the regional party and creating confusion amongst the minds of MLAs. We have enough I mean, talks from our own MLAs as to how it was being spread continuously. Chief Minister never believed all these rumors till he heard from two of the important people who have nothing to do with Odisha, taking his name and telling. That's when he decided, okay. And what is the narrative? That he is not in his good health and he may collapse anytime. So party should look for a fresh leadership. And he was standing there as the fresh leader or the competent leader to take over. So this is what was being played, which the Chief Minister did not like. There was absolutely no truth. Now we are in 2024, almost 9 years after. There were articles in magazines, national magazines, reputed magazines about Chief Minister's health. See, refuted all those things in 2019 elections. But the damage what Mr. Jayapanda tried to create was substantial. And it was not good for a person who used to have dinner and lunch with the Chief Minister to do this behind his back. It was very sad. And Naveen Babu believes in very ethical kind of politics, and he never believed. When the local leaders told, he never believed that. He thought that they are trying to play between me and Jai. But when outside leaders, union cabinet ministers and his own friends from outside, who have nothing to do with Odisha, spoke, then he was convinced that, okay, this is what he is trying to do.
The political atmosphere this week, when I'm doing this interview, is going to get highly charged because you have the Prime Minister coming and you have Rahul Gandhi's yatra also passing through the state. So is this, again, I like everybody, everybody likes me situation in Orissa right now, or is it going to be a volatile political situation?
The volatile political situation, even Chief Minister never believes in volatile political situation. He keeps a very decent and dignified political discourse. If you see him, he never attacks any opposition. It's his style of functioning. And people of Odisha appreciate that, respect that dignified conduct. His political discourse is always very dignified. So this drama, this shouting, this it doesn't happen so much in Odisha because he is like a towering personality who is unshaken. He's stable. He doesn't react or respond. He goes to people with his facts. In fact, in 2019, his only campaign word was, people give long speeches to win elections. His campaign, the entire campaign was just one line. Are you happy with me? Apanamane kushito. It became an iconic word. That one line. He went to meeting after meeting and asked that. Are you happy? Apanamane kushito. The people roared that, yes, we are happy. Over. His election campaign is over. The entire campaign, he didn't give speeches. That's the kind of politics he believes in. Work hard. From the day you get elected, from that day you start working hard. Many people have asked, after 2019, it doesn't look like a fifth term government in the first year. You guys work like first time you have come to government and first year of, or the last year, just before elections as if you are working. And that is the style he follows always. Don't miss a single day, don't miss a week, don't miss a month. This state needs that extra run. Put your heart out, work hard. Politics we'll see during the elections.
But it is election, so I am going to come back about elections because, Rahul Gandhi's yatra went through Bengal. The Chief Minister didn't like it one bit. Went through Assam, the Chief Minister didn't like it one bit. Nitish Babu is not having anything to do with the Nyaya Yatra. What's going to happen in Orissa?
If I may humbly say, Honorable Chief Minister will not even know that yatra is passing. That's my answer.
But is there any anyaya that he wants to bring nyaya, you think?
He can bring whatever, but it's very insignificant. If I may humbly put it, the yatra which will cross Odisha will be so insignificant both for BJD and for Congress.
But the earlier yatra also which Rahul Gandhi had done was to rejuvenate, of course it says Bharat Jodo, but it rejuvenated the cadres in many states, and you saw that they won in a couple of states post yatra. Do you think that the cadres in Odisha will
BJD will be very happy if they get little regenerated, because it's good to have a triangular fight always.
Oh, who benefits? That's interesting. Now, here you're talking about like an election strategist. I almost feel I'm talking with a Prashant Kishore or somebody.
No. I'm too junior or not having so much experience.
So a triangular fight works
No,
better?
I just said out of, I mean, yeah, if Congress picks up a little bit, it is good. We should always have good opposition, means strong opposition, BJP, Congress, then it is good for the state.
Does the BJP do constructive work as an opposition in your state?
Inside the state, I don't think they do too much of constructive. The state BJP.
So you did kind of insinuate that you had political issues when you were talking about the work around the Puri temple. So was there any when you were talking about political issues? Was
So
it
there were cases filed in the Supreme Court by very common people, and there were the highest paid advocates appearing for them in Supreme Court, in High Court. So who pays for these advocates who charge 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs per appearance? There was a magical hand or a mysterious hand behind all these people who went to Supreme Court to stall this project. Their only intention was that it should not be done during Naveen Babu's time. He may get political mileage, but whereas he risked his political career in going ahead with this project. Honorable Supreme Court gave a beautiful order saying that this project should go on in the interest of devotees, in the interest of temple. The temple security is very important. There were lodges in 10 meters away, there were sky-rise lodges. From the lodge you can see inside the temple. If somebody throws a grenade or somebody does some, that we have instances of attacks in temple in our country. And once in a month or once in 2-3 months, you will get these alerts. Whenever there is any terrorist attack, you get the intelligence inputs in the government saying that guard your temple. But when the temple is surrounded by so many lodges, what kind of security you can provide to the temple? That's one of the prime reasons why the Chief Minister was very interested that we should clean up all these places.
So is there a special security force that is
Absolutely. Right now we have got the best of technology, the best of monitoring systems, and the Chief Minister has put a one battalion, special battalion to protect the temple.
Right. Let me come back to politics. You said you were swearing by it that you're not going to fight an election
In 2024.
in 2024.
Yes.
Right. Is the BJD going to put an all-out effort for the Lok Sabha polls in 2024? Because you see a kind of a half-hearted way. It's like an understanding कि BJP के साथ कि तुम center वाला लड़ लो, हम state वाला लड़ लेंगे.
It doesn't work like that in elections. You might have covered so many elections. How do you tell people that? It's not possible.
But people in this state are very clever. When they vote, I mean clever in the sense, I mean it nicely, that when they vote for the state, they vote for BJD, and when they vote for the center, they vote for the BJP in many instances, which means that politically, they're very well aware what they are doing. So is it because
so if I may analyze the 2019 election results, BJP won 8 seats. Out of the 8 seats, 5 seats they won with less than 10,000 margin.
Because what do you suggest?
So you are saying about the dual voting. Now, it was a very narrow kind of result.
So if you had worked a little harder, you mean?
No. Every election, I think Naveen Babu puts his best front, and also the party puts its best might behind every election. So we have to accept the results in elections.
So the Congress party had come out with this very innovative ad where they brought out a wedding card in which they said BJP is marrying BJD. They're already married, so this was just a formal invitation. What do you have to say to that?
I think they are blind to the agitations which BJP does in the state against Naveen Patnaik, against me, against any development project like the temple or any major project. You do any major project, they'll find out something and go to the streets, go to the people. I think Congress should be blind to say that. That's how they miss out on larger point.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the BJP does behave like an opposition
Absolutely.
The state
They're
unit.
very aggressive in the state.
Yeah. And do you respect them for that, or do you fear them, or do you, what is your reaction to the BJP?
The brand of Naveen Patnaik politics is constructive opposition. Somehow I'll say that it's not so constructive as far as the state unit of BJP is concerned.
So,
and people understand that. And that is why they are not getting electorally successful in the state.
women voters are, have voted enormously towards the BJP in many state elections, like in Uttar Pradesh and all the analysis that came out and said that, whether it was so many projects of Prime Minister Modi, because of which women voters voted for Mr. Modi. What about the women voters in Odisha? Which way will they go? Because Naveen Patnaik seems to have the pulse of women voters in the state elections. What will happen in 2024? How do you see it going?
They love Naveen Babu. That's the one line I can say. If you go on any electoral rally or you go to any public place with him, you sit behind him, see those eyes lit up when they look at him. There is a magical connection between the chief minister and the women voters of the state. They come in large numbers to vote for him, and they are very protective about Naveen Babu. One of the biggest mistake the political opponents always do is they hit hard at him and they criticize him very badly and they lose out on women votes. They are very protective of Naveen Babu. All our surveys shows that.
Why do you think that happens as a protective kind of a thing? Why? Because he's Bijuda's son?
I think he has outgrown all those things. Whatever he has done for women of the state in terms of economic empowerment, in terms of political empowerment, he walks the talk. Which party has given 1/3 seats to women in Lok Sabha? He is the only leader who had done.
Correct, yes.
And he made sure that 1/3 goes from the state. They didn't lose the elections. All of them won. And he has been a continuous advocate of reservation for women in Lok Sabha and in Assembly. His father gave 33% reservation for women. That was a pioneering step at that point of time. And he made it 50%. One of the first chief ministers to give 50% reservation for women. And he has this huge program called Mission Shakti, where 6.5 lakh self-help groups are there. It's 65 lakh women are there as part of this. How much is the loan they are taking every year? 12,000 crores is the loan these Mission Shakti women take from banks, and he gives it as 0 interest. He empowers them financially, he empowers them politically, he empowers them in every sphere possible. So,
what are the numbers let's get down to number crunching. How many seats do you think you will win in the Lok Sabha polls? How many seats in the assembly polls?
I think one should not have any wild guess. One will be able to tell immediately after the elections. But Naveen Babu will come with a huge majority, thumping majority, as always. And his numbers will be always higher than the previous election.
And this term that if he wins, is that going to be a term to groom you, or has he already groomed you as his successor?
No, absolutely. There is no grooming, or it's not like some to
See, it's not nepotism. If you're not born to the Patnaik family, so it's not nepotism in that manner. So why do you shy away from accepting it that in a manner he has groomed you?
He has groomed me to serve the people in the best possible way. But he has always said the people of the state will decide who will succeed him. And that is the stand which he always stands for. He is very transparent that way. If people of the Odisha wants a particular kind of leadership, they will select it. So, and one goes with the flow, no expectations.
Do you have the support of the party, or do you face a lot of jealousy from the party because you're young, you aren't born into a political family, they might see you as an upstart, if I'm sorry to say this word, but they might see you as an upstart who's come into politics recently?
Actually, I see BJD as a family. There will be, like even in brothers and sisters, there will be some jealousy, some anger, that's how I see, and one should live with it. But I get enormous love and affection from the party and the people. It's unbelievable sometimes, inexplainable, and that is that inexplicable thing which made me to jump into this. So it's the people's love finally what matters.
Right.
And the party respects people's love.
On that note, thank you so much, sir, for being part of the podcast. You are a great storyteller, and I'm quite amazed that you never realized this, and this is the first time that you've spoken on a television interview or on a podcast.
I am complete. I was completely unprepared. So apologize for if I have done any mistake.
Not at all.
I spoke from my heart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind.
डॉक्यूमेंट रेडी तो
बस कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट नहीं तहसिल ऑफिस गले पैसा भी लगे आ मासे टाइम भी डर लगुच
अरे 5T तहसिल को पूरा क्लीन कर देछि एटी मो सेवा केंद्र रे ऑनलाइन अप्लाई कले जल्दी पाई जीवो
भाबी नथिली कामटा एते सहज हेबो
कारण आम पाखरे 5T अछि
उत्तम शासन और स्वच्छ सेवा पाई 5T अछि
I am a world skill champion.
I am an automobile expert.
We run startups.
Industry 4.0 is here.
I am a proud mariner.
Welding is my passion.
We are robotic engineers.
Home away from home.
CV Raman Global University, Odisha, homegrown, world class.
मोदी सरकार को ग्यारंटी खाद्य सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित प्रति मासरे 80 कोटी लोकों को मागणा राशन मिलुची आम संकल्प